Growing up, I frequently heard the phrase, "the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world." I've come to understand this essentially means that the person who nurtures a child decides the character of that child, which in turn shapes the type of society that generations to come will establish. If this is true, investing in women and girls is necessary for a flourishing society. This is the same idea that underpins our International Women's Day theme of investing in women and girls in leadership to accelerate gender equality, equity, and socioeconomic empowerment. Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Jamaica Magazine. I am your host, Audrey Williams. Happy International Women's Day! I hope that women, including myself, will recognize our full potential, become it, nurture it, and then teach it. With that being said, you know we have a great show lined up for you, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back after the news.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Friday, March 8, 2024. The government has made provisions for the maintenance of the island's network of secondary roads beyond the Shared Prosperity through Accelerated Improvement to our Road Network (SPARK) program. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Matthew Samuda, gave the assurance on Wednesday. He was responding to questions from members of the Standing Finance Committee of Parliament.
The instruction from the Prime Minister through the Permanent Secretary to the NWA is that post the SPARK program, that 20 billion figure is to be allocated to the maintenance of secondary roads as a line item going forward.
The SPARK program intends to modernize more than 2,000 roads island-wide. It is designed to address secondary, parochial, and community roads over the next 3 years. Elements of the Mason Hall Water Project in St. Mary will commence in less than 2 months. That update is also coming from Minister Matthew Samuda during this week's Standing Finance Committee meeting. The project will see some 5 million gallons of water being lifted from the White River to solve challenges being experienced by several communities.
There are elements that are tied to the CDB funding, but certainly some of the distribution network will commence in 2 months. The other elements, we expect to complete the design work associated with same this year. You know that project will last some 24 months from commencement to completion.
Jamaica is well on its way to not just achieving its emissions reduction target by the year 2030, but is also projected to exceed it. This report comes from the Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Matthew Samuda. He says the sectors with individual targets to help achieve this feat are land use, waste management, and energy.
With the land use policies that we have in place, we have seen significant lands that were secondary forests go back to primary forests, and lands that were previously mined out lands and agricultural lands be returned to secondary forests. So Jamaica is increasing its forest cover now currently. So on the land use side, we are not just on track, we are actually ahead of target. On the marine environment, we are between 13 and 15% depending on which estimate that you reach. We are a part of a LiDAR mapping initiative that is being undertaken by the 5Cs CARICOM Climate Organization, which is being undertaken by our Spatial Management Unit, or being done in collaboration with our Spatial Management Unit. We expect to, after this mapping initiative, as well as based on some work being undertaken by the Coast Guard and the Department of Fisheries, we expect to get to that 30% target by 2030.
In 2020, Jamaica, for the first time, included land use in its nationally determined contributions, NDCs, making this one of the ways in which the country will increase carbon capture and reduce emissions. Minister Samuda reveals that at present, in excess of 25% of the country's land mass is being protected, and the expectation is to exceed the 30% target agreed on by the rest of the world for 2030 by the end of 2025. Among the areas of progress in relation to energy, he points out that the national bus fleet is in the process of being electrified to reduce emissions. Electric vehicles are also to be bought for the National Water Commission this year, and the entity has a 5-year plan to cut energy usage. In light of deteriorating social conditions in Haiti in recent days, the government is looking at how best Jamaica can accommodate citizens and other persons seeking to leave that country. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang says this will be done without Jamaica being overwhelmed by an influx of refugees.
At this point, we have agreed to take a number of people legitimately, namely the orphans in an orphanage that was isolated and challenged, and the Mustard Seed community is taking them. We have agreed on the logistics of that being worked out. We have been requested by the World Bank to take their staff here, amount 53. We are working out the process to get that done.
Minister Chang was answering questions at Thursday's sitting of the Standing Finance Committee, which was reviewing the 2024-2025 estimates of expenditure. He says the accommodation process will be monitored and reviewed daily, stressing that the security forces and related agencies will still maintain control of our borders.
Security-wise, we just seek to protect our borders, which means increasing the level of activity in our East Coast, South and North, and also increasing our collaboration with both our security forces contacts in Haiti as well as the other international bodies in Haiti involving security to monitor the situation there, which continues to be of distress and a challenge to the Haitian community, in particular southern Haiti, Port-au-Prince and surrounding areas.
The National Security Minister asserts that the government is taking an active and leading role in trying to get CARICOM to bring some level of stability to Haiti. This, he says, should facilitate work with international partners and agencies to hopefully achieve a more sustainable governance structure for Haiti. And finally, the Consumer Affairs Commission, CAC, will be leading the local observance of World Consumer Rights Day on Friday, March 15. This year, the focus is on the increasing use of technology in the marketplace, with the theme being Consumer and Technology. Are you protected?
Technology has become a way of life. It has affected every aspect of our life, whether education, health, shopping experiences, whatever aspect of life. Technology plays a part. Our communication, how we communicate.
The CAC's Chief Executive Officer was speaking during a JIS think tank on Thursday. She says several activities will take place to mark World Consumer Rights Week from March 10 to 15. The areas of focus throughout the week include online banking, e-commerce, data protection, and artificial intelligence. Activities begin with a church service at the St. Peter and Paul Catholic Church in Ligony and will also include presentations at libraries and schools to disseminate the information.
We really want consumers to be more engaging, more discriminating. And I keep saying that because it's a changing world and we really need to be in a position where we are able to manage ourselves.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Today is a celebration for all women around the world. Dare to dream big and achieve everything you put your mind to. Remember, you are fearless, kind, inspiring, and you have made an impact on society. Your unwavering love and continuous support for people are some of your most wonderful traits. Your ability to nurture goes far beyond what people could imagine. Your strength is defined by the number of things you can endure and overcome. You are hardworking and your duty never ends. You always try to help others no matter what, and that is something which will never stop. You are powerful, ambitious, and you go beyond your limits in life. You sometimes cry at night, but in the morning you see a bright light. You have endured some heartaches, pains, griefs, and a whole lot of burdens, but you have also smiled, laughed, danced, and cheered. Happy International Women's Day, and we stand proud to celebrate you in all that you do, especially today. Now, let's continue our conversation in our He Says, She Says series. One of the topics to discuss is who makes a better leader. Take a look.
Female make better leaders now. In the past, it was males, but we find now that ladies are developing in disciplinary issues. They are powerful women who have excel in their area or whatever their field may be, and because of that, I think that they make good leaders.
Where the youth get set up, so them family have to keep regular set up.
All right, so I want to throw this question out to everybody: who makes better leaders, male or female?
The one who's most qualified.
That's a good answer.
One who's most qualified. I'm not a chauvinist.
I have done some research. It's something that I've looked at, and it is said that females make better leaders, and for the 21st century we will see more females becoming leaders and better leaders, and that is because of the whole issue of intellect, the whole issue of being able to connect with people's emotions, right? Because we're emotional beings as females. And so something that a man would overlook, a male leader may pass somebody and not stop to look and say, that person's eyes look a little bit saddened. You know, let me call that person in my office and find out if everything is okay. So they're able to connect more with people emotionally, the staff emotionally. And, you know, earlier when I was talking, as I was preparing and talking about the fact that men, and I had this conversation earlier, that men are not driven from an intellectual standpoint. Most men, or a number of men, they're more skill-oriented. So when it comes to the theory of things, a number of them don't gravitate to that. And I was giving a little statistics that, you know, as I lectured a couple courses last semester, I found that the men did not do well at all in the courses. Oh. It was a data thing I did, you know, and these courses were preparing people, and these are men in the program, to become guidance counselors. And it led me to become concerned, you know, of how they will really operate in that career field. So I do believe that we do have those good male leaders, you know. And I want to also say that I am one who believes that men should take back their role as leaders and lead as the word instruct them to lead. But what is happening in this time and this era is that we have more empowerment for women than men. And because of that, that is why we see more women arising in leadership positions, because there's always an empowerment group for women and there's less of an empowerment group for our men. Who is mentoring our men? And I'm very passionate about that, so you hear me going on it, because I'm very passionate about the men taking on leadership.
Just a follow-up question to what you just said, because your emphasis is that women makes better leaders based on their ability to connect with person on an emotional level. So my question is, do you think that level of connection would serve as a hindrance in the workplace, as well as maybe an advantage?
Well, I guess they're waiting on me to answer. It can. I won't say it necessarily will, but okay. I see where you're coming from, and I believe it really can, because sometimes pulling down defenses can happen. You know, the crossing of the boundaries that we spoke of, you know, can happen, because for me as a pastor, as a counselor, there are certain situations I don't take on. Because I am a very emotional person, You know, I have a very soft spot for females and females hurting, right? So some situations I really don't take on. I refer them to someone else. I refer them to like Miss Garwood, you know, to help them along. But it can, as I said earlier, really affect the work environment because you can even come across as motherly. You know, you're mothering me. You know, give me some space to breathe. So it can be negative as well as it can be positive.
Okay.
Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another.
All right, any last remarks in terms of building healthy relationships on the job?
Well, yes. You can be friendly, but not over friendly to the point where it's mistaken as if you're flirting with me. You understand? So when it comes on to that, just try to keep it as professional as possible.
I would say on valuing yourself, knowing who you are, you know, that will first of all, well, one of the things that help with the sexual harassment. You know, it will help with that. Yes. You know, you know who you are. You recognize this person is coming too close. You're invading my personal space. Stop right there. I heard what you said and I know what you're meaning. Stop. Also, forgot what I was going to say. At this age, you don't always remember everything, right? Go ahead, Ms. Garwood.
Be authentic as a leader. Be clear, as David said, in communicating your boundaries and what is required from your team. Be loyal and learn to connect with the people that are helping you build your company.
Okay, thank you very much for your valuable input. Well, this is where we have to end our discussion with our He Says, She Says conversation. Stay tuned for more. Our guests were Reverend David Grant, Miss Geraldine Garwood, and Adermi Mitchell. Thank you for watching, and I am Andre Palmer. Take care.
That teaches you to depend upon another way is a leadership that will increase. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another way is a leadership that will increase.
Yeah. Take a walk out to halfway tree if you want to see suffering.
Public passenger vehicle operators and commercial carriers, renew your road license online. It's as easy as 1-2 click. Visit the Transport Authority website at www.ta.org.jm. Choose your license type and click Apply Now. Sign in or create an account with your email address and complete the application process, uploading all relevant documents. Make payment using a debit or credit card. Once your application is approved, the Transport Authority will email you to collect your sticker. Pick up your sticker in office or utilize our courier service. Once the sticker is collected, your digital road license will be emailed to you. For more information, call the Transport Authority toll free at 888-991-5687.
One investment that we should all take seriously, particularly women, is having the appropriate lens. This will help us to see ourselves the way we should, and our next feature is a good starting point.
The culture has a body of stories and successive generations of storytellers who represent the memory of those people.
And so, understanding who we are completely entails releasing any doubts we may have about ourselves.
What I would like to know is why are there less light-skinned persons and more black-skinned persons in Jamaica?
To understand more of where I'm from and be more conscious. I don't think you can ever be too conscious.
Why some black people don't really like their color.
My blackness is more than just what happened in slavery times. It's more than that. We're bringing something in that I believe that we need to tell that story.
Dear Black girl, here's an extraordinary tale of your history, and it begins here.
most black persons would have come to this region through the process of enslavement. And so that has shaped a lot of our experiences, our cultural experiences, our physical experiences as well. So we can't deny that. But I think that what really should be noted for Jamaican and Caribbean women is that we've had an experience too of resisting. So resisting enslavement, resisting encroachment on our bodies, these types of things are part of your experience as well.
Negro is so often miseducated that we believe we're not contributing unless we have on high heel shoes and stocking and jacket and tie and all of these wonderful things that some outside force tells us that we ought to be.
I think that in Jamaica we can take a lot of things for granted, and one of that is our blackness, right? And so because we take it for granted, we will bleach our skin and we try to look like, you know, our European brothers and sisters, but in all aspects we are supposed to celebrate our blackness.
There is a general lack of education that we as black people have about the greatness of our skin, of our skin color.
Melanin is so important that it protects us from the sun's harmful UV rays and, for the most part, keeps us safe from skin cancer.
My blackness is unique. My blackness is strong. My blackness is culture.
My blackness is special, unique, and strong.
My blackness is phenomenal. My blackness is what makes me beautiful.
My blackness has allowed for certain opportunities as well, because say in a space they want to show diversity, I would be able to represent there as well.
So when we step out and we go to different countries or we are leaving the island, we know within ourselves that we are, you know, bringing something, that we are a brand, right? And so when we go amongst other people, we're not going to feel inferior. We're not going to feel as though we don't contribute to something. We will be able to say, hey, you know, I bring something because I know what my blackness is.
Traditionally, Jamaican women have also charted their own course in business, in politics, in work in the public sphere. I think generally we have not been very much conforming to what is expected of womanhood for the most part.
What is happening now? We are picking up some habits that I don't like. We're taking the foreign stuff. You cannot take somebody else's culture and put it on your kids. A person who doesn't know their culture is lost. God made us so beautiful. God made us so beautiful. And we should embrace what God gave to us. Don't try and change it.
This is who I am. It's not a struggle. It's not a challenge. It just is.
So, to self, don't try to change me. Don't try to lock me up. For my ancestors have said it, and I believe in it. Black girls are exquisitely beautiful in every shade.
Creators, join the JIS Creators Challenge.
We want to see your unique perspective on why you love Jamaica.
Whether it's through a Jamaican adventure, arts and craftsmanship, or Jamaican cuisine.
Or party lifestyle, or a celebration of our Otamaniwan people culture.
Unleash your creativity in a video 1 minute or less, showcasing why you love Jamaica.
Follow us on all our platforms for more info on how to enter and prizes to be won. Stay tuned!
The Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee Festival has always delivered an explosion of all things coffee, and this year's staging of the event was no exception. Of course, it is worth saying Jamaica's Blue Mountain coffee is highly sought after worldwide. What What makes it so delicious? Could it be the mysterious stratospheric heights in which it is grown, or the fragrant yet moist, fruitful soil? Think about it. It's worth a sip. Knowing that, we visited the coffee festival to experience the festive atmosphere firsthand and discovered the following.
The festival has become bigger and bigger. We're now at Newcastle, just where we are today, up in the mountains, beautiful weather. So it's a great place to have it. What it does is it makes a great many Jamaicans come to realize not just the history and the advertisement that coffee brings, but experience. The festival, therefore, brings together Jamaicans, the growers, the baristas, the traders of coffee, the coffee houses, and we're having more and more.
We are hoping that the time will come to be able to track these cards.
Hello, the house are burned down.
And punish those who are doing this.
All too frequently, a unit is unavailable for an actual fire emergency, merely because it is responding to a false alarm.
And it results in most instances to a waste of resources that could be used for more productive purposes. So I want to encourage members of the public to desist from this practice. We tend to see a spike in false alarm calls during the summer when the kids are home. Because they are home, they have their cell phone and they see it as fun to dial whether 110 or 119 to say that there's a fire somewhere. So we want to encourage parents to pay attention to that as well.
We've reached the end of our program. Get a recap of everything you saw here and more on our website, jis.gov.jm. And in the words of Henry Ford, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. In essence, your mindset determines how far you go. I'm Audrey Williams. Bye for now.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.